I grew up in a house where do the right thing meant keep the paperwork. My grandmother kept stamped envelopes like trophies. Paid, received, settled. It was not joyless. It was safe. That template became my brain. I love a good system, and I don't mind being the least exciting person in the room if it means the floor stays flat. Ryan is the opposite kind of gravity. He can make a barista laugh with one sentence, and he's scary good at convincing strangers to waive fees. He also believes problems are mostly vibes and that my job, a job that literally prevents banks from being fined, is important but kind of depressing. When we got engaged, we did the usual whirlwind. A venue with string lights, a caterer who says words like seasonal, a playlist argument that was really about who we think we are in front of our friends. Gloria, who loves a gathering, pitched a charity element for our pre-wedding party. Let's turn love into action, she said. The cause drifted. First a local family whose rent had spiked, then a friend of a friend's medical bill, then a youth arts fund. Every time I asked for a 501c3 link or a payee name, the story missed it. Don't make it corporate, Gloria said. Ryan kissed my cheek and asked me to make cute QR codes because I'm the tech one. I don't hate QR codes. I hate ambiguity. I spun up a simple donation page on a mainstream processor that can route funds either to a registered charity or to a personal account after verification. Compliance 101. You don't let money sprint through a system faster than the truth can keep up. I also added the most boring safety net in the world. An escrow/hold rule so money wouldn't leave until a beneficiary passed checks. It's like a seatbelt, I told Ryan. Nobody notices it until the skid. His smile got thin. That sounds heavy for a party, he said. People just want to tap and feel good. I built the taps anyway, with a quiet twist. Each poster got a unique link. Marketing folks call it UTM parameters. One code for family, one for my work friends, one for the venue table, one for Gloria's Facebook invite. Harmless. Helpful. If any link accidentally pointed somewhere else, I'd know which someone else. A QR/UTM map. A one-pager that says, in human words, this code equals family invite. This code equals work friends. I printed it and put it in my folder because folders are where panic goes to rest. Red flags arrived like confetti. First, a test flyer I hadn't made appeared in the group chat. The QR landed on a page with our event photo but a different payee name. The difference was tiny unless you read the line under the logo. Not the nonprofit I had pre-cleared, but an account under Gloria Family Services, LLC. I know how platforms mask names, so I triple-checked. The payee descriptor was an LLC, not a charity. Next, our mailbox started coughing up gaps. A letter from the processor I'd been expecting, standard confirm beneficiary stuff, didn't show up. Ryan shrugged. Mail is chaos. Our building has a camera above the mailboxes because we had a package thief last spring. Mail cam snapshot. A figure in Gloria's bright cardigan opening our box to help, because she was already in the building dropping off centerpieces. She call it kindness. The camera calls it access. I asked Ryan about the LLC page. He said it was a placeholder Gloria's friend made, so no one has to deal with paperwork. I explained gently that paperwork is how we make sure a fundraiser is not just a vibe. The bank version of trust me, bro, is fines. He rubbed the back of his neck and said, "You're making this complicated on purpose." I kept it boring and humane. I emailed the processor, not with panic but with a normal question. Email from processor. Translated, "Hi. We see multiple QR links tied to this event. Please confirm the intended beneficiary. If the payee is a charity, provide EIN/registration. If it's an LLC, please clarify the purpose and whether funds constitute donations or payments." They replied with the sentence I say in meetings but apparently not at parties. Funds will remain on hold pending beneficiary verification. Good. Seatbelt on. The more I looked, the more the charity shed grammar. Gloria posted on her social, "Donate to our family's cause." No cause link, just a square QR. When I scanned it, it didn't go to my page. It went to a page that was powered by the same processor but with a different account ID. One not under my dashboard. QR/UTM map. told me which code it resembled. My family code, reskinned. I checked the payment dashboard hold I had set up for my page. Donations trickled in small amounts from my coworkers who used the work invite. The family QR, the one on Gloria's page, showed nothing. Money was going somewhere. It just wasn't going through the hold I set. I did a simple public record search. LLC lookup. The business under the QR belonged to Gloria, with Ryan listed as an authorized manager. The category, consulting/services. Not illegal. Also not youth arts. When I asked Gloria for the charity's registration number, she pivoted to sentiment. Sweetheart, not everything needs to be a spreadsheet, she said. When I asked who would issue donation receipts, she said, we'll figure it out. When I asked why our photo sat on a page with her LLC at the bottom, she said, it all goes to good things. Ryan wanted it to be small and nice. People trust us, he said. Isn't that the point of community? It is. It's also the point of scams. I didn't call him a scammer. I said, good intentions can wear a mask. Jade listened to me pace and then poured tea like an intervention. You're not going to out-argue vibes, she said. Make the system tell the truth. Quietly. So I did two things. First, I called the venue and adjusted the contract. The sales manager knows me as the bride who color codes. I asked for a one-sentence addendum. Ad venue clause? If fraud or illegal activity related to the fundraiser or marriage contracts is suspected or discovered, client may instruct an immediate pause. Deposits are non-refundable and may be applied to compliance/administrative costs. He read it twice, looked wary, and then said the phrase that calms me more than flowers ever will. We can do that. Second, I set up a freeze trigger with the processor. In plain words, if money routed to any payee outside the verified charity path but still used our event assets, photo, description, the account would enter a hold state pending investigation. No one gets paid. No one gets arrested. Everyone gets proof. Meanwhile, trickles of cash moved weirdly between Ryan and Gloria on peer-to-peer apps. P2P transfers. Venue tips. Balloons. Printing. It's normal to split costs with family. It's less normal to do it in midnight drips with notes that look like camouflage. I didn't assume. I wrote it down. I also switched all further QR printing to my own little office printer and started using a micromark on every code. Something only I'd notice. If a new flyer showed up without the mark, I'd know it was born elsewhere. And, because I am me, I put a tiny line of text on the bottom of each poster. Donations processed through processor name. Funds released upon beneficiary verification. No one reads the bottom line until they need it. This is where I confess that I'm not asking for legal advice. I have a legal team at work and a personal brain trained to avoid shouting fraud in a crowded room unless I can prove it with the kind of paper a grumpy regulator would smile at. I am also engaged to a man I love who thinks I make everything heavier than it needs to be. I don't want to embarrass him. I want to protect strangers handing over money because they love us. The plan, as it sits, at the party, if the QR codes in the room point anywhere other than the verified beneficiary path, I will trigger the hold I set up. The processor will freeze disbursements. I will ask the venue to pause the fundraiser portion per the addendum, and I will show minimal facts to the people who need to make decisions. Manager, Ryan QR/UTM map, highlighting which code route's wrong. Payment dashboard hold. Showing funds in escrow. LLC lookup showing ownership. No names, no addresses, no public scene. Just nouns. If it's a misunderstanding, the freeze rules lift as soon as the beneficiary is verified and her details match what the page says. If it's not, donors get refunds and the party goes back to being a party without a cash box. Either way, the floor stays flat. Gloria will say I ruined a good thing. Ryan will say I made it heavy. Jade says heaviness is what keeps bridges from failing. So, AITA for planning to shut down our charity moment and freeze the funds if, in that room, the QR codes point to his mom's LLC instead of the verified beneficiary we promised? Update 1. I decided to treat this like I treat messy vendors at work. Assume confusion before malice, document, and let the system tell the truth. So I started with a boring baseline. I printed all of my posters myself, Thick paper, matte finish, tiny micromark tucked under the QR. You'd never notice unless you were me. One stack went to Gloria's house, one to Ryan, one to my office, one I kept. We'd agreed verbally that no one else would generate codes. 2 days later, a flyer landed in the family group chat with a different crop, slightly bluer tint, and no micromark. My stomach tried to sprint. I scanned it, half hoping it would fail. It worked. It just didn't work like mine. At QR/UTM map, Delta. Family chat flyer resolves to account ID ending in 73. Not my dashboard. A processor trace. A friendly UI breadcrumb that shows where a link points even if the donor can't see the plumbing. In human words, the water comes out of the same faucet, but someone rerouted the pipe in the wall. I put $10 through my work invite link as a test. The payment dashboard, hold, displayed, held for beneficiary verification. A green bar sat there like a patient librarian. Then, from my personal phone, I put $5 through the family chat flyer. It went through. The receipt looked similar. There was no hold status in my dashboard because it wasn't my dashboard. I didn't see a name on the receipt, the processor obfuscates, but the descriptor included Gloria Fam Serve LLC. My teeth did that furry thing stress gives them. I sent a gentle, non-accusatory message to Gloria. Hey, love that you're excited. For compliance, we need all posters to use the verified link. Can I swing by and swap yours? She replied with a heart and nothing else. The next morning, the flyer was taped to her church bulletin board. I know because Mail Cam caught her dropping something off at our building again, and she posted a selfie after. The QR in the photo was the bluer one, no micromark. Ryan said I was being territorial about codes. I said I was being protective of donors. He said, my mom isn't stealing. I said, great. Then the hold won't bother her. The processor emailed back with better English than anyone uses on social media. A email from processor. Thank you for flagging multiple donation entry points for the same event. We see one set routing through account A, your organization profile, with an escrow flag. We also see links using your event name and image that route to account B, business profile. Per policy, we've placed account B in a provisional review status. Funds received there will be restricted pending clarification of beneficiary. No sirens, no drama. A seatbelt clicked. Gloria called me, voice honeyed. Sweetheart, the business account has lower fees, she said, like she was offering me baked ziti. We'll pass everything on. Then why not pass it through the channel that automatically passes it on? I asked. She pivoted. People just want to help. I said, and they deserve to help the person they think they're helping. She hung up to check on balloons. Small money kept moving between her and Ryan on P2P apps with camouflage notes. P2P transfers. Poster prints. Venue tips. Gas. At odd hours. Always just enough to look casual. A normal couple of reimbursements? Possibly. A parallel ledger? Also possibly. I didn't label it a crime scene. I put it in the folder. I checked state business records because sunshine is free. LLC lookup. Gloria Family Services LLC members. Gloria, last. Ryan, last. Purpose. Consulting. Again, not illegal. But when your charity routes to consulting, language is doing gymnastics. To keep the human part human, I asked a colleague in merchant risk, not my case, not my employer, how he explains holds to civilians. At bank/risk, human. A hold is a traffic light, not a handcuff. Money's safer in red than in a ditch. I practiced saying that to myself until my heartbeat matched. Meanwhile, my micromark did its job. At the venue walkthrough, I found 2 stacks of flyers on a side table. One had my mark. One didn't. I scanned a random code from each stack. Mine routed to account A with hold visible in my dashboard. The other to account B with no visibility to me. I texted the coordinator and asked where the extra stack came from. She checked her notes and said, Gloria dropped them with the cake tasting. I asked her to remove them and only display mine. She did, professionally neutral. I didn't make a scene. I put the bluer stack in my tote and wrote collected, unauthorized, on a sticky note for my own sanity. At home, Ryan and I tried a soft conversation. I said, if you want to support a friend's cousin, great. If you want our party to raise money, great. But we owe these people a straight pipe, verified path in, verified path out. No side accounts. No, we'll square it later. He rubbed his temples. You don't trust my mom. I said, I don't trust any person more than I trust a system I can audit. That includes you and me. He said, it's just a party. I said, that's when people let their guard down. Gloria escalated to the family group. Let's keep the focus on generosity, not gatekeeping. I replied with actual generosity. To make sure generosity lands where it's aimed, please use the QR on the official poster. It says, funds released upon verification, at the bottom. If your poster doesn't say that, toss it. 3 cousins sent me thumbs ups. One aunt asked, is it true the other link goes to the business account? I said, yes, and the processor is reviewing it. Gloria went silent. Then came a little piece of theater. A call from an event helper number asking if we could pre-sign a beneficiary confirmation to expedite disbursements on the night. Processor call log. Note. We do not pre-sign disbursements. Verification occurs after funds are received. I forwarded the note to the venue coordinator so she'd know the answer if cornered. I also ran a cold start test. I printed a fresh poster from my laptop, put it in an envelope, and handed it to Ryan in front of Jade with the sentence, this is the only file we're using. He said okay. The next morning, the family group posted yet another version. My layout, my image, a slightly different crop. I scanned. Account B. No micromark. I didn't accuse him of swapping. I said, someone is still generating new codes. He said, it must be the printer. The processor's next email was less friendly and more administrative. An email from processor. Follow-up. We've placed account B into a limited state. Incoming funds will not disperse until beneficiary information is verified and accounts are consolidated, or the event materials are updated to accurately reflect payee. We recommend removing any materials that direct to account B to avoid donor confusion. Translation. The seatbelt tightened. I updated my QR/UTM map with a column labeled status, held/restricted/unknown, and a row for bluer family variant. I added a note, remove if present. I printed a copy for the venue coordinator and tucked another behind my badge in case my nervous system needed a script. The last straw was low stakes but clarifying. Gloria posted a story with the caption, every dollar helps. The overlay covered the bottom line I'd added, funds released upon verification. Not proof of intent, but perfectly on brand with hide the sentence that keeps the floor flat. I messaged her privately, please stop cropping out the verification line. She replied with a photo of cupcakes. I'm aware this can sound uncharitable. I keep checking myself. Maybe they're clumsy, not crooked. Maybe less fees is their love language. But the whole point of escrow is that good people shouldn't mind it, and bad systems can't avoid it. Right now, the only people agitated by a hold are the people who want the money out fast. So the plan stands with a few refinements. I'll bring only my posters and the QR/UTM map. Any rogue stack gets quietly collected. If I scan a live poster and it resolves to account B or anything unverified, I'll trigger the freeze. Done. Account B already in limited state. I'll show the venue coordinator 3 simple pages. Map, hold dashboard screenshot, LLC lookup. No dramatics. 1 noun per line. I'll tell Ryan privately, we can still have a party tonight. We just aren't laundering it through confusion. If he chooses the fundraiser over clarity, that's an answer. I also wrote a 1-paragraph statement for donors, just in case the mic gets thrust at me. Thanks for your generosity. To make sure your gift lands where it's aimed, all donations route through a verified link and remain in escrow until the beneficiary is confirmed. If you donated through a different link, your payment is being safely reviewed and will be refunded or redirected based on your preference. Fits on a card. It also fits my conscience. Tomorrow or whenever the party counts as on top of us. I'll know if this is a misunderstanding that cleans up in daylight or a family habit that hates locks. Either way, the processor is ready, the venue knows the clause, and my folder has more nouns than adjectives. I'm not here to win an argument. I'm here to keep strangers' $10 kindnesses from becoming someone else's slush fund. Update 2. The room looked like generosity. String lights, a photo wall, a donation station easel by the doors. My posters, matte with the tiny micromark under the code, were on the cocktail tables. Next to the easel, though, was a fresh stack of bluer flyers, no micromark. My ribs did the hollow drum thing they do when the floor is about to tilt. I walked straight to the easel and scanned the visible code with the calm you practice when your job is to name things, not set them on fire. It resolved to account B. I opened my payment dashboard on my phone. Nothing new. Then I scanned one of my own table posters. Held for beneficiary verification. Green bar, patient librarian. Jade slid in beside me. Blue or matte? She whispered. Blue, I said, and pointed at the easel. She nodded once and drifted toward the coordinator, who had a copy of my venue clause in her binder. Gloria floated over, radiant. People are already giving, she said. Isn't it beautiful? I said. It will be as soon as all the giving goes through the verified path. She lifted a bluer flyer like a toast. Lower fees, she said. Kept my voice low. Lower oversight. Ryan arrived with 2 drinks and his best let's not do this smile. Babe, can we keep the energy up? He said. I turned my screen so only he could see. Payment dashboard, on the left. Account B limited notice from the processor on the right. Energy stays up, I said. Money stays in escrow. The band started. The MC made a sweet speech about community. A cousin pointed their camera at the easel and scanned. The little tap to pay spinner turned. I felt something inside me stand up and do its job. I tapped the processor's report link misuse button tied to the event assets. It wasn't a siren. It was a traffic light. The dashboard flashed a banner. A processor note. Event assets used by multiple accounts. Account B already in limited state. Escrow broadened to entries tagged by asset hash. Disbursements frozen pending review. Translation for the room. Money equals red light for now. I raised my hand to the coordinator, nothing dramatic, and said the word we'd rehearsed. Pause. She moved like a pro, dimmed the uplights by the easel, stepped to the mic between songs, and announced, Quick note. Our donation link is undergoing a routine verification. Please hold off scanning the big poster. Enjoy everything else while we sort it. Thank you. The band rolled into a crowd pleaser. The air barely rippled. Gloria froze, then unfroze into performance. This is humiliating, she hissed. You're saying I'm a thief. I took out 3 small printed pages. No addresses, no numbers, just nouns. A QR/UTM map highlighted the bluer code labeled Family Variant Account B, Limited. Payment dashboard, Screenshot held for beneficiary verification on account A. LLC lookup. Gloria Family Services LLC members. Gloria, last. Ryan, last. Purpose. Consulting. In plain words, I said quietly, these posters route to your business account. The processor put it in limited status. That's not a crime scene. It's a seatbelt. When the beneficiary is verified, money moves. Until then, it waits. Ryan looked between us. We were going to pass it on, he said. You're making this ugly. I said, I'm making it traceable. A donor approached with a phone in their hand, apologetic. I just gave. Did I do it wrong? I smiled and used my prepared index card. Donor card text. Thank you. To make sure your gift lands where it's aimed, donations route through a verified link and remain in escrow until the beneficiary is confirmed. If you used a different link, your payment is safely held for review and will be refunded or redirected. Your choice. They exhaled. Oh, good. They took a cupcake. While the music covered our conversation, Jade and the coordinator quietly collected the bluer stack and slipped them into a folder marked Remove. I scanned the room and saw my micromark shining like tiny green checks under the table QR codes. The system is not romantic. It is merciful. Gloria switched tactics. Lower fees means more to the kids, she said. Voice pitched for a sympathetic aunt nearby. I said, more to which kids, and how would donors get receipts? She said, we'd handle it after. I said, after is not a plan. Ryan took my elbow toward a quieter corner. Can you please not do this here? He said. These are our people. Exactly, I said, which is why I won't let their $10 become a line item in a consulting ledger. The processor pinged again. The email from processor. Event assets matched to account B. Account B now restricted from further intake while we review. Donors who contributed via account B will receive a notice offering refund or redirection to verified beneficiary. Please provide beneficiary details to complete verification of account A. The words felt like oxygen. Not handcuffs, just a traffic light that works. Gloria demanded the mic. The coordinator declined with the kind of boundary that saves careers. We're not making donor announcements until verification is complete, she said, handing her a plate instead of a microphone. Jade texted me one line. Pies secured. I smiled without showing teeth. A small knot of relatives formed. I repeated the same 3 sentences, calm as a checklist. There are 2 links. Ours sends money into escrow until the beneficiary is verified. The other routes to a family business account and is now restricted. Your gift is safe. You'll receive a refund or a redirect option. Most people nodded. One uncle said, so, transparency? I said, yes, transparency. Then the part one hoped not to see. A late arrival scanned a bluer code from a folded flyer in their pocket. One of the ones we hadn't collected. Their phone chirped. A beat later, my processor dashboard showed a new, flagged intake entry under account B's restricted bucket. The system worked. It caught it midair and set it down gently in red. Gloria realized she was losing the room and went for accusation. You don't trust family, she said, that word heavy like a cast iron pan. You're making Ryan look weak. I said, I trust systems because I love people, and Ryan looks like a man who can choose clarity. Ryan stared at the easel. We could just do a cash jar, he said, the kind of sentence that tells you why controls exist. Or, I replied, we could announce that anyone who wants to give tonight should write a message card to the beneficiary, and we'll send it with the verified funds when the hold clears. The coordinator loved that. She produced a stack of blank cards and a pen cup like magic. We pivoted the table sign. Write a note for the beneficiary. Donations will be processed through the verified link after confirmation. People immediately started writing, you're seen, you matter, hope the art classes help. It was maybe the purest version of generosity the room had in it. I watched Ryan read a card and soften. Then he looked at his phone, which buzzed with a P2P transfers. Request from Gloria for balloons. He declined it. It was a small click in a big machine, but I heard it. The partied. Cake was cut. We danced. The fundraiser stayed paused. No public shaming, no sirens, just sunlight. After most guests drifted out, I met Ryan by the coat rack with 2 realities. Here's the fork, I said. We can keep planning a wedding in a life where money and promises move in daylight. Verified links, receipts, no side accounts. Or we can stop pretending we want the same floor under our feet. He rubbed his face. She'll never forgive you, he said. This isn't about forgiveness, I said. It's about donors and us. Gloria came over for a last swing. After everything I've done, she said, I raised a good son. I agree, I said. Now let him act like one. That night, I sent 3 tidy notes. To the processor, beneficiary info packet with the charity's contact provided by the original family friend. A request to redirect flag donations to account A upon verification. Consent to automatic refunds for anyone who chooses that instead. To the venue. Confirmation of pause executed per clause. Thank you for professionalism. and a note that any printed materials must originate from my file only. To Ryan, a short boundary message. No wedding planning until funds are verified. Account B is closed to event intake, and all future fundraisers use the verified path in writing. If that feels hostile, we're not compatible. He read it. No reply. Jade put a slice of pie in my fridge with a sticky note that said, "Traffic lights save lives." Before sleep, I opened the folder and added one more plain page for future me. What happened? No adjectives. Blue QR routed to business account. Processor froze. Venue paused per clause. Donors informed and safe. Notes collected for beneficiary. Ryan declined one P2P request. Gloria attempted mic. Declined. Ending TBD. I didn't cry. I set my alarm and felt something I haven't felt in a while. That the ground under me was the ground I chose. Final update. The morning after, my phone was a stack of square emails. No exclamation points, just the careful grammar of systems doing their jobs. A processor final notice. Review complete. Funds collected via account B using your event image and title will not disperse to account B. Donors are being emailed the option to refund or redirect to the verified beneficiary, account A. Account B's event intake is closed. Any future fundraising using your event assets must be linked to account A or removed. Beneficiary confirmation. The arts nonprofit sent back a short, warm note confirming they'd be happy to receive redirected funds and could send receipts from their side once the processor released escrow. They included exactly what I asked for. The registration number and a simple one-line description of the program, after-school stipends for supplies. A refund summary rolling. A live tally showing donors choosing paths. About half clicked, redirect to verified beneficiary. A chunk clicked, refund. A few, my coworkers mostly, wrote little messages in the processor flow. Thanks for doing this right. Gloria posted a story about haters, a photo of glitter cupcakes, and a caption. We were just trying to help. Then she called me. Her tone did that honey-turned-vinegar thing. You embarrassed us, she said. You made us look like criminals. I repeated the sentence I'd been practicing. I kept donors safe. She asked if I was happy now that the good deed was ruined. I said, the good deed is getting done, just not through an account that can't send receipts. Ryan's call felt different. He sounded dimmed, like a party after vacuuming. Mom's devastated, he said. She says the fees are stealing from kids. I told him the fees are the toll you pay to use a road with guardrails. Then I told him the part I'd kept to myself until the review finished. A account B statement request. The processor asked the owner of account B, Gloria, for bank info to verify where the money would have gone. Gloria declined to provide it. That one refusal knocked the last wobble out of my doubt. He went quiet, then said, she thought if the money hit faster, people would feel good faster. I said, then she should have loved the escrow as proof. She didn't. He said he needed time. I said I'd bought us time with a freeze. He could spend it learning to love daylight. The venue coordinator emailed too. She thanked me for the short scripts and attached a little internal note that made me feel vindicated in the pettiest way. A coordinator note. Client had pre-agreed pause clause. Execution was calm. Donors appreciated clear message. Strongly recommend a verified link-only policy for any future events using fundraising language. I took Jade for coffee, where she told me two things that helped more than closure memes. 1. Compliance is care. And 2. People who hate locks rarely hate them for strangers. They hate them for themselves. We split a cinnamon roll that tasted like relief. A day later, the processor sent the last piece. A disbursement release. Escrow on account A will release to beneficiary X per confirmation. Receipts will be issued by beneficiary X. Account B donors who selected refund have been processed. Account B is barred from using your event assets. We consider the matter closed. No fireworks, just money landing where it was aimed. Gloria pivoted from cupcakes to pressure. She texted a long paragraph about family unity and second chances. Then CC'd 2 ants. I replied with a screenshot of the processor final notice and one line, "Unity without accountability is PR." She stopped CCING people. Ryan and I met on a bench in a park. He said he'd closed the P2P loops with his mom and asked the processor to remove him from account B. He also admitted he'd helped clean up the first bluer flyer because he thought it looked more modern than mine. "I didn't understand the plumbing," he said. I believed him. I also believed he liked not understanding it because understanding would require saying no to his mother. We tried one counseling session like two people testing a bridge. The therapist asked Ryan to say plainly what he thought the fundraiser was. He said, "A way to feel like we were doing something big." She asked me. I said, "A way to convert good feelings into good receipts." The word receipts made him wince. The therapist said, "You two are trying to build the same house with different materials." She wasn't wrong. She asked him to choose. Love that lets the floor be checked, or love that needs a fog machine. He didn't pick in the room. He said he was tired of being in the middle. I said, "You're not. You're on a side you don't want to name." I gave it a little time because people deserve a window to change once the room is lit. During that window, two things happened. A donor survey processor. A small sample of donors rated their experience. Comments included, "Glad it was paused until verified," and "Thanks for the refund option." Gave again to the correct link. The number I care about. 0 complaints about the pause. LLC status. Look up. Gloria Family Services LLC updated its business profile to remove fundraiser support from its listed services. Maybe coincidence. Maybe a tiny, reluctant lesson. Ryan came by with a box of the letters people wrote to the beneficiary. We read a few. They were perfect, for brushes and bus passes. Make something no one's seen. He looked at me in that way people do when they wish reality were gentler. "I hate that you were right," he said. I told him it wasn't about being right. It was about being okay with being seen. Then I told him I couldn't plan a wedding with someone who treats guardrails like insults. We ended the engagement with fewer slam doors than some apartments here. He kept the speakers. I kept the folder. We divided deposits like adults. I texted the beneficiary coordinator a photo of the stack of notes and asked how they wanted them delivered. She cried in her email. I mailed the notes with a quiet thrill I can't dress up as anything but joy. Gloria sent one more message, a classic. "When you marry into a family, you marry into our way." I didn't write back. If I'd had it in me, I would have typed. Then I chose not to marry into it. Instead, I put her thread on mute and saved my energy for people whose way includes receipts. I moved through a few weeks like a person after a storm, grateful for boring weather. I ran the what-if drills in my head less and less. The folder on my desktop called Event, Evidence got an archive tag and drifted down the list. New files rose. Recipes, books to borrow, places with pie. The best part wasn't the processor's email or the coordinator's praise. It was walking into my own kitchen and feeling like my life didn't need me to catch it before it fell. If you need numbers, here are the last boring ones. A redirected total. Most of the funds that came in through verified paths released to the nonprofit. A refunded total. The rest went back to donors who asked within the window. Complaints. None escalated. Account B. Closed to event intake. Any future use of our assets triggers an automatic lock. A wedding. Cancelled with standard vendor terms. No theatrical penalties. Just the clause doing its quiet job. The last time I saw Ryan, he hugged me in that respectful way people do when they finally admit they want different kinds of air. He said he was proud of how I handled it. I said I hoped he'd be proud of how he handles the next boundary that asks him to pick a side. Am I angry? Less than I expected. Mostly I'm relieved that my instincts, the ones people call corporate or cold, turned out to be a translator for care. It isn't that I love paperwork. It's that paperwork lets strangers be generous without paying for someone else's lesson. If you're reading this because you suspect a fundraiser in your orbit is a vibe with a Venmo, here's the human translation of everything above. Holds are hugs for money. They keep the gift safe until it knows where to go. Unique links are seatbelts for truth. They show where the pipe actually runs. After is where accountability goes to die. If the path is real, it can be real now. You can pause without shaming. Lights down, music up, cards out. People will be fine. And if you're asking AITA for shutting down a charity and walking away, I can't vote on your life. I can tell you the quiet after is beautiful. It's the sound of a room with the fog machine turned off.